Hi, welcome to Math 0482. My name is Dr. Kathleen Dexter Mitchell. I'm a professor of mathematics at the College of DuPage. You can call me Professor Dexter or Dr. Dexter. You can also call me Professor Dexter Mitchell or Dr. Dexter Mitchell. Either is fine. My email address is dexterk@cod.edu. In this video, I want to talk a little bit about our course, the content of the course, the structure of the course, and what you need to do to get started. If you have not already done so, I highly encourage you to contact an advisor from the College of DuPage to make sure this is the correct class for you. So if you have any questions about that, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Let's talk briefly about the content of the course. There are two main themes that run through our course that I want you to keep in mind. The first is solving equations. We will do a lot of solving equations. And the other is graphing. We will graph a lot of objects. We'll eventually call them functions. But we'll graph a lot of equations in order to see what they look like. We're essentially looking at a picture of them in order to understand them better. And we will also work a little bit on tying these two concepts together. So keep that in mind as you're working through the course. So in Chapter 8, we're going to start with rational expressions. And by the end of that chapter, we'll be solving rational equations. That's just equations that involve rational expressions. In Chapter 9, we're going to study absolute value equations and inequalities. So just a specific type of equation. It's a shorter chapter. Chapter 10 is focused on radicals and rational exponents, and those are just different ways of expressing the same thing. So in that chapter, we're just learning some rules of how to work with these objects so that we can use them in the future. Chapter 11, we're going to talk about quadratic equations. So in the previous class, which was at the College of DuPage, that's Math 0481, which is beginning algebra, and this is intermediate algebra. In beginning algebra, you study linear functions, linear equations. So here with quadratic equations, we're bumping it up a notch. So one more level of complexity, and it's still a very nice class of objects to study. Very simple, lots of great properties that we can identify and work with. In Chapter 12, we will introduce the concept of functions. You may have seen this before. It's an important way of describing a relationship between two variables, and we'll talk a lot about graphing. So that'll be a very important part of our course. And then in Chapter 13, at the end of the semester, we will introduce exponential and logarithmic functions. Those are also two very important functions. We'll touch on them lightly. So that's the content of the course. Let's talk briefly about how you're going to work through it. So you'll start the course by watching our course videos and then taking notes as you go. Our course videos are on this webpage, Divide and Conquer Math. There's a link to it in Blackboard. They were created by Professor Jennifer Hill of the College of DuPage. They're great videos and they have guided notes to accompany them. So if we navigate over here to Algebra 2, so here we're in Chapter 8, and you can see that there are videos and then notes to accompany them. So if you were to open the notes, you would see that the notes mirror the videos exactly so that you can take notes as you go. And this is analogous to taking notes in class. So for every video, there's a set of guided notes. You'll complete them for each video. So for Section 8.1, there's 4 different sets of notes that you'll complete. These need to be completed on the notes as they are printed. So you can either screen write or you can print them out and handwrite. What you can't do is write on your own paper. I've tried that and it's simply not successful and it takes me a very long time to grade. So you do need to write it on the actual note paper, whether that be on a screen or printed out on physical paper is up to you. And if you have questions about that or how to do that, just let me know. I've been doing this for a long time. I've never had a student who couldn't figure it out, but if you need help figuring it out, I am happy to help, so just let me know. When you're ready to submit the notes, you come over to Blackboard, and if you come to the Weekly Assignments tab, this will be the primary tab that you'll use for keeping track of what is due each week. And starting here in week 1, so once you watch this video, you'll come over here and complete all these steps. But when you're ready to complete the notes, you'll come down here at the bottom to submit notes. And there is a link I've provided here to help you scan them into one document if you don't know how to do that. So you'll have however many pages of notes for the first set of videos that are due for 8.1 through 8.4. And they need to be put into one PDF document. So if you're screenwriting, that's pretty straightforward to do. If you print them out, then you'll have to scan them back into a PDF. So there's lots of free apps to do that. I like to use Genius Scan. You just take a picture with your phone, and then when you're done taking pictures of your work, it converts it to a PDF, and then you can email it to yourself and then upload it to Blackboard. There's additional functionality too if you want to explore it, but for the free version, that's how you would do it. So, and then you would submit it here when they are due. Okay, so that's the videos and notes, and that's the equivalent of attending class. So I highly encourage you to fix a time to complete that. You're not expected to do it on the day that it's due. That would be a lot. So make sure you're doing that regularly so that you can learn it and ask questions when you need to. But once you've watched the watched the videos and completed the notes for a series of sections, you'll go over to ALEKS in order to complete your homework. Now, the first time that you access ALEKS, you have to do it through Blackboard. You have to go to this link and sign up for our course through Blackboard. After you've done that, you can access ALEKS directly at aleks.com. Okay, this is what ALEKS looks like. So you do not need to do this prerequisite stuff here. They always have some little topics like this. There's no way to get rid of it. To access our assignments, just click on the menu here, and you can go down to assignments, and then you can see the assignments that are that we're going to work on this semester with their due dates and so on. So just click one of them to get started. And ALEKS allows you to retake problems that you've missed, so you should be able to get 100% on each homework assignment. Now, as you're working on the homework, if there's something that you don't understand, it's imperative that you get help, especially in an online class. So you can reach out to me. You can reach out to the Math Assistance area. I'll show you more about that in just a moment. I've also set up a Discord page that we can use, so you can post your question there. But it's imperative that you get help if you feel that you don't understand what you're doing. That includes if you feel like you're just remembering a bunch of steps without really understanding why you're doing that. It's really important that you get to the point where what you're doing makes sense instead of just something you remember. Okay, moving on to the quizzes. Every few sections there'll be a quiz. I've set it up so that you get 2 attempts at the quiz, and the second attempt is a quick retake. And I'll tell you why I did that. I want you to use the first attempt at the quiz as if it were a test. Take that without any distractions and without any aids. That means no notes, no calculators unless ALEKS provides you one, without looking something up. That is your best feedback on how well you have learned that material so far. So the homework, you can keep working problems. You can get a perfect score on the homework, but maybe not have retained it. So use that first attempt at the quiz as like a little mini practice test. And then you can retake the problems that you missed. And you only have to retake the problems that you missed. I did that because I know sometimes it's a deterrent if you have to retake the whole quiz and it's going to take you another 30 minutes or however long to take that quiz again. Some students won't do it, and they'll look at their notes if they don't, because they don't want to miss a problem. So by giving you that quick retake, you are set up to be able to just use that first attempt for the best feedback you can get. And then, of course, you've got to act on that feedback. So if there's something that you don't know based on that quiz, or that you thought you knew when you were doing the homework, but then when it came to the quiz you couldn't remember, or it wasn't as straightforward as you thought it was, work on that. Right? Do some more problems, go to the Math Assistance area, reach out to me with questions that you have, and continue the learning. So a big theme is to treat the assignments in the class as learning process, not points for grades. Right? I know we all want to maximize our points for grades. Of course, it's part of the system. All right, I'm not going to tell you not to do that. But here I've set it up so that you can do both. And then for our tests, there are 2 proctored tests, a midterm and a final. So those are the 2 proctored tests. So there's a midterm test and a final test. That's it. Those are proctored by the COD Testing Center. So you are expected to take those tests in person on the dates that are in the syllabus. If you live more than 50 miles from a COD Testing Center, or if you have other extenuating circumstances that prohibit you from going to a testing center, let me know right away. And I will reach out to the testing center and see if there are accommodations that can be made. Speaking of accommodations, if you have testing accommodations, such as double time or things like this, it has to go through the Center for Access and Accommodations, so reach out to them right away. The last thing I have here about the structure of the course is, in addition to these assignments, there's also 2 projects that we'll do throughout the semester that are just designed to enhance your learning. They are not going to be incredibly complex. They are just designed to help you continue to learn the material that you're working on. Okay, there's just a couple more things I want to point out here. One thing that I didn't mention while we were in Alex talking about the homework is that if you work part of an assignment after the deadline, the whole thing is counted late. So there's a lot that I like about Alex. That particular detail I don't. So it can't distinguish between what problems you worked before the deadline and what you worked after. Anything you work after the deadline has a 25% penalty for the first week, and then after a week you can't complete the assignment for credit, but you can still complete the assignment. So just be aware of that. And if you need to access an assignment after the due date, but you don't want to change your grade because you don't want to incur the penalty, you can access it through the ALEKS gradebook. And that's the only thing you'll use the ALEKS gradebook for. It does not have your grade. Your grade is here in My Grades in Blackboard. So this is your overall grade for the course. You'll find it here. The ALEKS gradebook does contain a link to the assignments without changing the grade of the assignment. Here's your syllabus. Make sure you read it, right? This is what's expected of you in the course. It's sort of your contract for the course. It's important that you read it, especially in an online course. I've created a calendar for the course, so if you want to see all the deadlines at once, you can take a look at that. But be aware that the weekly assignments tab is the important one for having additional instructions about what to do with each assignment. So this will be a heavily used tab for us this semester. And then here in the Math Assistance Info tab, you can find information about the Math Assistance area and also additional tutoring options that are available. And make sure you take advantage of them, right? You can think about the fact that you've already paid for them. They're part of your fees and your dues, so make sure you use them. There's a link to access it through Blackboard, or you can go in person. But you're highly encouraged to make good use of those resources. I've created a Discord link for a Discord server, so if you would like to join that, you can. It's not required. It is encouraged. And how busy it is just really depends on you. So if you post questions there and answer other people's questions, it's actually a really great resource. Sometimes I have classes that just don't use it very much, just a tiny bit, and then it's it just doesn't do much. But for those who want to use it, it's a really great resource, and it can come up with some. It's really helpful. Like if you're doing your homework at 11 o'clock at night and so are your classmates, then you guys can kind of help each other out with stuff like that. So join it if you'd like. And when you join, you have to change your username to your first name, last initial, just on our server, so that I can make sure you're in the class. And then once I do that, you'll be able to post. So you won't be able to post immediately when you get there, but as soon as you change your name, you'll be able to post. Okay, and finally, here's our orientation quiz. It's just a collection of common questions that are asked. So read the syllabus, obviously watch this video, and then take a look around Blackboard, look at the week 1 assignments, and then send me the answers to these questions from your COD email account. I will be sending messages to you at that account, so I need to know that you have access to it. And then for some extra credit on this first quiz, introduce yourself on Discord. So just post this information. Again, it's optional, you don't have to do it, but you are highly encouraged to do it. All right, I look forward to working with you this semester. Please be in touch. I'd love to hear from you. Anytime you have a question, reach out. I'll get back to you as quickly as I can.